A violent confrontation occurred on June 13, 2025, in Okigwe, Imo State, where members of the Biafran Liberation Army reportedly clashed with Asari Dokubo's loyalists and Udo Gachi, local vigilante. The Biafran Liberation Army allegedly overpowered them and confiscated their weapons. Meanwhile, a critic has criticized the overwhelming number of military and police checkpoints across southeastern Nigeria, calling them tools of extortion rather than security. Drivers are reportedly forced to pay bribes at these checkpoints or face long delays. He expressed frustration over how ordinary Nigerians, especially commercial drivers, are financially burdened by these illegal tolls. With over 70 checkpoints between Lagos and Onitsha alone, daily travel becomes economically unsustainable. The critic accuses Nigerian authorities of complicity in these corrupt practices, suggesting that top officials either condone or benefit from the extortion schemes on the highways. He also made comments on the broader Biafran struggle, stating support for any agitator fighting genuinely for the independence of Biafra, regardless of affiliation, whether with Nnamdi Kanu, Simon Ekpa, or others. He believes that Simon Ekpa should not be considered a terrorist, as he is not a registered member of the indigenous people of Biafra, ipob, the group officially prescribed by the Nigerian government. Instead, he leads a separate faction called Autopilot, which is not classified as a terrorist group. He also talks about the ongoing trial of Simon Ekpa in Finland, defending him as a legitimate activist rather than a terrorist, and arguing that witnesses testifying against him are inadvertently helping his case by clarifying he is not a member of ipob. A specific critic named Emeka Gift is condemned for allegedly spreading hatred against Simon Ekpa, with the critic accusing him of sabotaging the Biafran movement for personal reasons rather than promoting unity. The critic warns that if Simon Ekpa is convicted, broader repercussions could follow, including potential bans on ipob-related activities in Finland and more crackdowns on Biafran activism internationally. In conclusion, the critic urged Biafran freedom fighters to remain united, stop testifying against each other, and instead use platforms like the Finnish court to share the truth about the suffering and killings of Biafrans in Nigeria. On the 13th day of June in the year 2025, a dramatic and intense incident unfolded in the heart of southeastern Nigeria, specifically in Okigwe, which is located in Imo State. This incident was not just an ordinary scuffle between rival groups or neighborhood vigilantes. It was a fierce and symbolic confrontation that sent waves of alarm and discussion across the region and even beyond the shores of Nigeria. What transpired was a violent clash involving three key players: members of the Biafran Liberation Army, followers of Alhaji Mujahid Asari Dokubo, and a local vigilante group led by Udo Gachi. As the sun rose over the hills and forests of Okigwe, life seemed to be beginning normally for the residents of that peaceful yet restless town. But by mid-morning, tension began to build. Gunshots were heard, people ran for cover, shops closed abruptly, and roads that were once busy with commercial buses and motorcycle taxis quickly became deserted. The loud echoes of gunfire filled the air. Mothers hid their children, men took shelter in nearby bushes, and business owners locked up their shops in fear. According to multiple eyewitness accounts and early reports, the confrontation began when members of the Biafran Liberation Army, a group that claims to be fighting for the freedom and independence of the region of Biafra, stormed a location where loyalists of Alhaji Mujahid Asari Dokubo had been operating. These loyalists were not alone. They were being supported by a well-known local vigilante commander named Udo Gachi, who is said to have been providing protection for some of the operations of the Dokubo group in Okigwe. What followed was a well-organized offensive by the Biafran Liberation Army. This was not a random ambush or a spontaneous skirmish. It was a calculated, strategic assault that caught the Asari boys and Udo Gachi's vigilantes by surprise. Within a short period, the Biafran Liberation Army overwhelmed them in numbers, weapons, and battle tactics. The clash was intense, with heavy gunfire and a visible display of military-style maneuvers by the Biafran fighters. Eyewitnesses, whose names we are withholding for security reasons, described how the Asari boys initially tried to resist the attack. But it soon became clear that they were outnumbered and outgunned. Members of the Biafran Liberation Army moved with the precision of trained soldiers. They seized the weapons of their enemies, guns, machetes, communication gadgets, and other tools of war. They did not just disarm them, they chased them out of the area entirely, forcing them to flee on foot and abandon their bases. Even Udo Gachi himself, known to be a fearless and daring local vigilante leader, was reportedly overpowered and forced to escape into the surrounding bushes to save his life. This confrontation sparked immediate debate across social media platforms, online forums, and in local community discussions. Videos and audio clips, allegedly recorded during the incident, began circulating. Some showed armed men in black uniforms, adorned with the Biafran flag symbol, parading with seized weapons. Others showed the fleeing Asari boys running for their lives, clearly shaken by the sudden defeat. The mood online was mixed. While some celebrated what they saw as a victorious resistance against external forces trying to dominate southeastern Nigeria, others expressed deep concern about the implications of such open armed conflicts. To understand this incident fully, one must look at the deeper context behind it. The southeastern part of Nigeria has, for years, been a region filled with agitation, discontent, and calls for self-determination. The dream of an independent Biafra, a movement first popularized by the late General Chukwuemeka Odumegwu Ojukwu in the late 1960s during the Nigerian Civil War, has refused to die. Over the decades, various groups have emerged under the banner of Biafra. Some have embraced peaceful means of agitation, including protests and legal advocacy. Others have taken a more militant approach, forming armed wings and launching local operations to resist what they call occupation by the Nigerian government and its allied forces. The Biafran Liberation Army is one of such militant wings. While its full structure remains largely unknown to the public, it claims to be committed to defending Biafran communities from external aggression and internal betrayal. According to some online statements attributed to the group, they see themselves as a necessary defense mechanism in a land where ordinary citizens are constantly harassed by both state and non-state actors. On the other side, Alhaji Mujahid Asari Dokubo is a former militant leader from the Niger Delta region who is known for his controversial comments and involvement in regional politics. Though not originally from the southeast, he has been involved in recent years in movements and private security operations that have brought him into contact and sometimes conflict with pro-Biafra groups. His followers, often referred to as Asari boys, are known to operate with military-grade weapons and have been accused by some southeastern residents of causing chaos and fear in communities they enter. The presence of Udo Gachi's vigilante group in this entire situation adds another layer of complexity. Udo Gachi, according to local reports, has been active in Okigwe and its surrounding villages, offering security services and sometimes acting as a local law enforcement figure. However, critics argue that his group has recently aligned with external influences, possibly for financial or political gain, thereby losing the trust of the local population. Beyond the battlefield, this event sparked a wider conversation about the state of southeastern Nigeria. A particular critic, whose name was not officially released but whose comments were widely shared, gave a powerful and emotional reaction to the situation. Speaking through an online video platform, this critic condemned not just the violence, but also the everyday suffering that people of southeastern Nigeria endure, especially in the hands of corrupt security forces. He pointed to the overwhelming number of police and military checkpoints scattered across the southeastern roads. According to his own personal calculation and experience, there are over 70 checkpoints between Lagos State and Onitsha in Anambra State. These checkpoints, he said, are not just security structures, but have become major sources of financial extortion. Commercial drivers, traders, and even private car owners are routinely asked to pay bribes. If they refuse, they are delayed for hours, sometimes even beaten or threatened. He described how the cost of transportation has tripled, not because of fuel scarcity alone, but because drivers are forced to include these illegal tolls in their fare calculations. A trip that should take 3 or 4 hours can now last an entire day, all because of unnecessary harassment and delay at multiple checkpoints. He described how these checkpoints often benefit not the ordinary police officer on the road, but top-ranking officials who receive daily kickbacks. This critic accused the Nigerian government of being complicit in these activities. He said that the suffering of southeastern Nigerians is not just caused by agitations or separatist movements, but by a deliberate structure of oppression and corruption. He claimed that the federal authorities either turn a blind eye or directly benefit from the extortion happening on the roads. In his view, these roadblocks are less about protecting citizens from criminal elements and more about enriching a few powerful individuals. He also used the opportunity to speak on the broader Biafran movement. He said that the division among Biafran activists is one of the major reasons why the dream of independence has not yet been achieved. He called for unity among all Biafran agitators, regardless of who they follow or what method they adopt. Whether it is Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, who remains detained by the Nigerian government, or Simon Njoku Ekpa, who is currently facing trial in Finland, the critic said that what matters most is the common goal: freedom for Biafrans. The critic went further to say that Simon Njoku Ekpa should not be referred to as a terrorist. According to him, Simon Njoku Ekpa is not even a registered member of the indigenous people of Biafra, the group that was officially prescribed and labeled a terrorist organization by the Nigerian government. Instead, Simon Njoku Ekpa leads a different faction called Autopilot. He claimed that this group has not been legally classified as a terrorist group in any known jurisdiction. He pointed to the ongoing trial of Simon Njoku Ekpa in a court in Finland. In his view, this trial is not just about one man. It is about the narrative surrounding the entire Biafran struggle. He argued that some of the people who are testifying against Simon Njoku Ekpa are doing so not because they have real evidence, but because of personal grievances, political ambitions, or external influence. Ironically, he said, their testimonies may actually help Simon Njoku Ekpa. By admitting in court that Simon Njoku Ekpa is not a member of the indigenous people of Biafra, they are indirectly proving that he should not be held accountable for actions carried out by that organization. In a very passionate tone, the critic also condemned Emeka Gift, another prominent voice within the Biafran community. He accused Emeka Gift of betraying the movement for personal reasons, perhaps to gain favor with certain government agencies or external powers. He said Emeka Gift has spent more time attacking Simanyoku Ekpa and less time defending the actual people who are suffering and dying every day in southeastern Nigeria. He warned that if Simanyoku Ekpa is eventually convicted, it would not just affect one man. It could lead to more restrictions on Biafran activism across Europe and other parts of the world. Governments may begin to clamp down on any form of Biafran-related advocacy, even if it is peaceful. Therefore, he called on all freedom fighters, activists, and leaders to stop testifying against each other. Instead, he urged them to use platforms like the Finnish court to tell the real story of what is happening in Nigeria. The unlawful killings, the disappearances, the economic strangulation, and the everyday harassment of innocent people. He concluded with an emotional appeal. He said, "Let the court in Finland hear our cries. Let the world know why we are fighting. Let the truth be louder than our divisions." The incident in Okigwe and the wider discussions it sparked have once again brought the Biafran issue to the front page. It is no longer just about old memories of a war that ended in 1970. It is about current realities, about checkpoints, hunger, police brutality, community division, and the cry of a people who feel unheard. And so, as Okigwe recovers from the echoes of gunfire and residents begin to return to their daily routines, the bigger question remains: can there be peace without justice? Can there be unity in a movement plagued by internal mistrust? Can a nation listen to its people before the cries turn into uncontrollable fires? As the story of Okigwe on June 13th continues to unfold, one thing is clear. This was not just a battle over territory. It was a battle over identity, over justice, and over the soul of a movement struggling to define its future. And the world is now watching. After the dust settled on the 13th of June in the year 2025, the people of Okigwe in Imo State were left with a heavy silence. That silence was not just the absence of gunfire. It was a silence filled with fear, uncertainty, and many unanswered questions. As the smoke cleared and the bodies of injured fighters were removed from hidden corners and roadsides, the ordinary people of Okigwe, traders, farmers, school teachers, mothers and children, were the ones who bore the emotional burden of what had just happened. Some residents who had remained indoors during the confrontation began emerging from their homes. Others who had fled to nearby villages or bush paths slowly returned to check on their loved ones and properties. The town was scattered with evidence of violence: empty bullet casings, damaged roofs, shattered vehicle windows, and burnt-out kiosks. Many families whose houses were located near the areas of the confrontation told local journalists they would not be able to sleep peacefully for a long time. Some children were traumatized by the sight of armed men running through their compounds. One trader named Mrs. Chinelo Eze recounted how she hid inside a large bag of gari in her store when she heard the first round of gunfire. She had opened her shop early that day as usual, unaware that trouble was brewing nearby. "I was counting money when I heard pa, 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 like fireworks, but I knew it wasn't Christmas. Before I could even think, I saw people running past my shop. I threw away my bag and hid myself behind the sack of gari," she told a local reporter. Her eyes filled with tears as she recalled the fear she felt. "I have lived in Okigwe for over 20 years, but I have never experienced this kind of violence. If not for God, I would not be alive today." Another eyewitness, a secondary school teacher named Mr. Ifeanyi Okoro, said he had just finished his morning lesson when he saw a group of young men in black clothing carrying what appeared to be sophisticated weapons. At first, I thought it was a movie. I even smiled. But when I heard the sound of real bullets and saw smoke, I knew it was something else. I locked the school gate and told the students to lie on the floor. We stayed like that for 2 hours. Despite the fear, many in the community expressed a strange mix of relief and admiration toward the Biafran Liberation Army fighters. Some saw them as defenders of the people, standing up against what they perceived as foreign forces causing chaos in the land. Others, however, feared that their presence could invite more trouble from Nigerian security agencies, who might return with harsh crackdowns on innocent civilians.
No Biafra, no peace! No Biafra, no peace! Who's the man? No Biafra, no peace! Who's the man? No Biafra, no peace! No Biafra, no peace! Who's the man?
Pandem pampaya gaji, obostata otatin. Non kaka ipuruje wote, on kaka ndiaga na tandera. Ndi I target I charge na pota. So ya using the mezi escort. Ndi escort kaija muzi. So kaka nya. Oye man, obostata otatin tijun.
You see, any agitator, I'm not against any agitator. I don't care as long as you are fighting Biafra genuinely. I support you. This is who I am. I'm not because of this or because of that. I started supporting even Owazulike before Nnamdi Kanu, and I support Simon Ekpa too. And Ngozo Arabez, and anybody fighting genuinely, unless if I can see that there's something wrong with your modus operandi, then I will just, ignore you. But if finish court call you, and you know what the case is all about now, that they're accusing him of supporting a terrorist group, which means Nigerian government have already. Why they say terrorist group is because they have proscribed IPOB. So what you did, going to say that Simon Ekpa is not a member of IPOB, you're right. You can say it, yes, with full chest, because that will exonerate him from that charge. You have helped him with that charge that he's supporting a terrorist group. Because his own group that he's leading, according to your witness, said that the group that he was leading is Autopilot, which is not even in Nigeria or any other place tagged as a terrorist group, only IPOB. But you have already clarified that one, that this man is not fighting for a terrorist group. Can you understand? But people who don't know are jubilating. Yes, do you think like a Mecca gift? What he wrote in X and on X. What do you think that he will get? Do you think that he will go and say that he member of IPOB? IPOB doesn't have a good name in Nigeria, for example. They are banned. You don't know? Even in the Finnish court, and they're going to tell the Finnish court that these people are what proscribed. And somebody is using their name. But Simon Ekpa have always told them that he is on his own. He have nothing to do. He's supporting now the kind, yes, but everything he's doing it on his own will, voluntarily. So you have exonerated him totally. But to come out or to go there in the name of that you just want to go and mock him or to go and put him in jail for whatever you think, you are killing yourself. What you should go there to do is that when they ask you, tell them that everybody is a member of IPOB. IPOB, meaning that is the full meaning of IPOB is indigenous people of Biafra. Is not any other thing. Anybody who is a Biafran is IPOB. But being a member, no. Yes, because he's not member of Finnish. He didn't register with Finnish. He doesn't pay dues there. He doesn't do anything. But he's a Biafran. This is what you tell them. And many people are fighting for the freedom of Biafra. This is what you tell them. That Nigerian government is buying Biafrans. So people rise up anyhow. That's why he rose up and he called himself autopilot. That meaning that after they took Mazen Nnamdi Kanu in prison, anybody can take off from anywhere. You know that. This is exactly as a very smart person. You coin it in that court because the whole world is watching. The whole world is watching. When Mossad they came, many other groups they came, but in the end, all of them united. This is the Israel you are seeing today. If you think it's only Mossad that fought, even Mossad was fighting the other ones too, like you're doing now. But in the end, they come together. When the time comes, they know that now is the time for us to come together. So when do you think you are going to come together as you are doing like this? The case is in court and you are going to testify against your own person as a make a gift tweeted. That's what I say. I could have, tagged that tweet, a make a gift tweet today, because that guy is doing a lot of damages because of his hatred for Simon Ekpa. That's all. He's not doing good for anybody, for the struggle. He is not more Biafran than anybody. If you think, he's in media, yes. And he's just tweeting rubbish. If I were the DOS, the head of the DOS, I would suspend him. Yes. I will query him. This is not what he should be doing. Anywhere you can promote Biafra, you promote Biafra. But in the end, Simon Ekpa will be free. He will get, unless if he commits any other thing that I don't know, but as long as it's just self-determination, and today you have already just, you damaged Nigerian's case. Thinking that you are helping them. No, if they pay you, then you people, man. Some of you people disgust me, man. Seriously. I wish that Mazen Nnamdi Kanu and Simon Ekpa will just come out very quick, very soon, and all of you will see how they will clean the house and bring the people who are ready to fight for freedom. Then all your chaff will just go in the waste dustbin of history of those who had some time ago. You wore IPOB attire, you come out there. Very soon they will, if Simon Ekpa managed to be found guilty, your activities in Finland there will be banned. IPOB activities. If you don't know, you know it. It doesn't matter if you say there's a man, he's a member of IPOB. Yeah, I don't know him. You knew him, he's a Biafran. Even if he's not a member of your unit or wherever, but he's a Biafran. He's a freedom fighter, like all of you, supposedly. He's a freedom fighter. That's what I would say in court. So in the Finnish court, we know that if they ask you more, you tell them about Biafra. Tell them a story about Biafra, how they are buying us, what is happening. That is the opportunity you have. You have that opportunity today. I don't know what you went there to do, but whatever happens, Let's see how it goes. But some of you disgust me. I mean, seriously, you do. So Biafrans, lovers of freedom, let's continue. Tomorrow, Mazen Namdekano will appear in court too. Let's see how it goes. All of you have seen what is happening in Biafra land. The kidnappings have started. Where is Simon Ekpa that you have been blaming? Who are you going to blame now? Who are you going to be blaming now? That's the problem. The guy is resting. He's resting. His name just calm. Before, everybody, Simon Ekpa. Now what? Who are you going to call now?
8. I even missed like 3 checkpoints from Owerri because it happened the first one, second one, and third time. I said, Ogini, what's going on? Don't see how this illegality has been legalized in Nigeria. That each checkpoint you must pay money, and when you don't pay money, they will delay you for hours. Like they will open your motor, scatter everywhere, begin to search, waiting even their existence. Oh yes, checkpoint is good though. Stop and search is good though. That is their duty. Yes, it's good. But when you now, when you now try to use extortion to be delaying people on the road, it's wrong. It's wrong. Now let us go up. Let us even talk about this now. A driver who wakes up in the morning, takes somebody's car on daily balance because he wants to have something to eat, him and his family. He has to drop 500 naira on each checkpoint from Owerri to Onitsha. Do you understand? Now calculate it. 20 checkpoint or 15 checkpoint. How much is it? 500 times 15 is how much? So from Lagos to Onitsha, how many checkpoint? More than 70 checkpoint. Calculate it. And when you don't pay this money, they will delay you for hours. So it's now legalized now that when you get there, you must drop this money for them, because if not, they go delay you. Are we not tired enough? Like, are we not tired enough? We are making things difficult for the poor people. That you delay them for hours on the road because they cannot pay you money, 300 naira, 500 naira, and when you pay you is a license for you to move. And when they can't, not that they have license, they have papers that are complete, but because they are carrying passengers, it becomes a crime. How long are we going to continue to suffer like this? How long? It's not happening just on the Owerri, on the Chahazis. No. From Warri to Port Harcourt, from Warri to Benin, from Lake Wasaba. It's crazy. And the worst thing is that the authorities pass through this road. They see them. They see them. So Nigerians are now asking questions. Is it like maybe they are the one even, sending them to go and be collecting money on the road and be giving back returns? I think Nigerians' questions is beginning to be clear now. You understand? Because I don't see a reason why, if people don't pay money, give them money, they won't pass through.
This is the end of our news update. Please click the icon on the top right corner of your screen to watch my next video. You will enjoy it. I will see you again in my next update. Enjoy the rest of your day. Goodbye for now.